It appeared on Earth 200 million years ago. Since then, it kills and saves from death. It is fabulously beautiful and disgusting. It is omnipresent and unkillable. It is able to control huge masses of people and change the course of history. If it declares war on us, we don't stand a chance. And we can't even guess what ancient secrets and hidden powers this damned and blessed mold fungi has. Deadly germs have attacked over 200 million people in the past 70 years. This is almost 2/3 of the total US population. Hello, my name is Kyrylo Pryma, and today we'll talk about our biggest enemy. The mold accompanies us everywhere. It lives in huge colonies, in bathrooms, apartments, ventilation shafts, and what is most unpleasant, are refrigerators. People are just used not to notice it.
The microbes live everywhere in the earth, in human body, in the water, on the earth, in air, and they live separately or they could live in colonies.
The microscopic fungus can destroy entire buildings. It is poisonous to people. It affects the lungs, intestines, and skin. Its spores enter the airways and settle inside us. Allergy is a consequence of living with mold. The fungus is even able to destroy the structure of DNA and lead to cancer.
Many years ago, doctors did know about antibiotics, and they use so-called symptomatic therapy. But usually, in the past, without antibiotics, most people who got bacterial infection like meningitis, pneumonia, most of them died.
The most dangerous feature of mold is that it is omnipresent. Microscopic fungi are able to survive in all conditions. They feel great in the Arctic ice, on the radioactive station of Chernobyl nuclear power plant, and even in open space. But deadly germs can be vital. The idea to use microbes in the fight against other microbes appeared thousands of years ago. The first mentions of using mold for medical purposes is found in the works of scientist Avicenna in the 2nd century. Also the Swiss physician Paracelsus in the 14th century. And Native American healers in the age of Incas of the 15th and 16th centuries. In the 19th century, a French microbiologist, Louis Pasteur, discovered that anthrax bacteria can be killed by other microbes. In 1897, Ernest Duchesne used mold to treat typhoid in guinea pigs. In 1913, American scientists Carl Ellsberg and Otis Fisher Black managed to get acid from the mold that has antimicrobial properties. In 1928, the British scientist Alexander Fleming was conducting an ordinary experiment. The biologist had one distinctive feature. He didn't like to clean up his desk. Cleaning dirty jars could stand for weeks, and he forgot to close some of them. One day, he left a tube with the remains of a staphylococcal colony for several days. When he returned, he saw that they were all overgrown with mold. Most likely mold spores flew through the open window. Fleming did not throw away the spoiled samples, but placed them under a microscope and was amazed. There was no staphylococcus. All that remained was mold and drops of clear liquid. He found out that some colonies of staphylococcal cultures in the petri dishes were infected with a strain of mold, Penicillium notatum. Fleming noticed an area around mold stains in which there was no bacteria. This allowed him to conclude that the mold produces a substance that kills bacteria. The scientist called it penicillin. Continuing his research, Fleming figured out that working with penicillin is difficult. Production is extremely slow, and that penicillin cannot exist in the human body for long enough to kill bacteria. The scientist was unable to extract and purify the active substance for 12 years. In 1940, Oxford scientists Howard Florey and Ernst Chain continued Fleming's work. They isolated the drug in pure form and studied its properties. On February 12, 1941, an injection of penicillin was first given to a human. A policeman in London was dying from blood poisoning. After several injections, he felt better, but the supply of the medicine ran out, and the patient died. In 1941, the first person who was saved with the help of penicillin was a 15-year-old teenager with blood poisoning.
Industrial monument to the miracle drug. Mass production penicillin plant at Terre Haute, Indiana, one of many where the life-saving medicine is now being manufactured wholesale.
Mass production of penicillin was established during the Second World War. According to some estimates, thanks to this antibiotic, about 200 million people were saved during the war and after it. The discovery of this drug has been repeatedly recognized as one of the most important scientific achievements in the history of mankind. Penicillin was the world's first antibiotic. Most modern antibiotics were created after the study of the therapeutic properties of penicillin.
Don't worry about it hurting them. Penicillin-injected rabbits are the healthiest in the world. They seem to enjoy their job of serving mankind.
The discovery of antibiotics was the greatest strength for humanity, the salvation of millions of people. Antibiotics helped defeat the terrible pestilence disease and blackpox. They reduced mortality rate from pneumonia, diphtheria, meningitis, sepsis, and polio. But antibiotics can also bring harm to our body. When using antibiotics, not only the bacteria that harm us die, but also a whole range of other beneficial microorganisms also die.
The name of antibiotics came from Latin words anti, against, bio-life. So it's against life, but it's against actually life microbes. But also if we're giving them without any restriction, it can harm people.
Imbalance of microorganisms in the human body can lead to diseases such as asthma, diabetes, and atherosclerosis. Humans create more and more new antibiotics against various bacteria. But microbes resist, mutate, and adapt. There is a paradox. People develop new antibiotics, and microbes develop their resistance and survive.
It's getting harder and harder. That's why pharmaceutical companies try to make new generation of antibiotic which can kill new resistant bacteria.
Scientists say in 2030, humanity is waiting for a real tragedy. More people will die from bacteria than from cancer. Those infections that are now successfully treated by antibiotics will soon become resistant. If we don't take decisive steps, humanity will become defenseless against germs. And the question stays, who will win this 1,000-year war between men and microbes?